Okay, part 3. Yeah, like I was saying, he never used, wouldn't use anything but 12-pound test. Number 4 high brass, don't give him a low brass shell. When you stop and think about it, and back in his days, a high brass shot about 1,135 feet a second, which is what our low brass shoot now. Back then, I don't know what low brass did, but I heard they were very underpowered shells. So, number 4 hooks, number 4 high brass shotgun shells. For knives, he up until they moved, until he went to the CCC camps, he had a, from what I understand, just a 3-blade jackknife. Fixed blade knives weren't really known around here that much in back in them days. None of my uncles had one either. They all hunted and fished. But he had a 3-blade jackknife. Then when he went into the CCC camps, they had a special knife that they used to issue him. It had a leather awl on it, a blade, at that time, bottle caps. You had a lift off, so it had a bottle opener. And it had a can opener to open rations with. Sound familiar? I had that knife up until about 10 years ago, and it got stolen on me. So, that was the knife he used right up until 1948. Then he traded the Little Ray Kaiser. He had a Remington number 4 pattern hunter. Just a relativity, PAL 36 was what the Remington used to be, and then PAL bought them out, started producing knives for World War II. Or a Barbell's, it was a Gladstone Hunter, I think it was. It was basically the same knife. So anyway, he traded somebody that knife when he came home from the service. I believe it was a 48 or 50. I forget what he said he traded him for, and that knife was on his side until 1978. It's a 6-inch bladed knife, and that's what he always told me. If you're going in the woods, take a 6-inch, 5-inch bladed knife, 7 tops. So it's just enough blade to get, cut down saplings, chop wood up if you need to, start fires, clean game. So then in 1978, he was complaining that the knife had worn out. And I bought him a bone-handled. The only thing I could find on the knife, it just says Swede on it. S-W-E-D-E. Razor sharp carbon blade. And that stayed in his hunting jacket and his whatever till the day he died, actually. But oddly enough, around the same time, my sister bought him a fishing pole. And in that fishing pole was a little Gerber LST. It was a plastic scaled 2.5-inch bladed folding knife. He put that in his pocket, and that knife stayed with him till the day he died. Now, I still do have that knife, but most of the blade is worn off. Made by Charade. Yeah, that is a Charade, not a Gerber. Yeah, that was just his knife. He skinned deer, turkey, squirrels, everything with that knife. And he always told me the most useful knife in the woods is a pocket knife. Getting on to later in the years, I wound up buying a Camp King when I first started hunting, because he told me that was a knife he had in the CCC camps. It was just marked U.S., the one he had, but that was a knife he had. It couldn't do me no wrong. And it didn't. I still own quite a few of them. So, I watched my dad shoot rabbits off the hip with his 12 gauge. And not chance shots either. We were hunting one day, and he said to me, "You see that deer over there? It's about 100 yards away underneath the hemlock." I couldn't see it. So I can't see it. So watch. He went to pick up, he had a 303 British. He went to pick the rifle up and the deer jumped. And he's following him as he's coming up with the rifle. And I don't know how he did it, but the rifle hit his shoulder when he fired. And he dropped that deer in midair. My dad could hit anything moving with anything you wanted to. He'd shoot rabbits with a slingshot on the run. The only thing he couldn't shoot was a bow. But he could throw a knife just like you were shooting an arrow. And, yeah, I've watched him pull off some shots that were just... One day we were out hunting. We were hunting in Wayne County. And I was down in this valley. I had a 22 with me. And the valley was thick. I mean, you couldn't see 10 feet. There were squirrels running everywhere in there. So I come up out of this valley. He said, "Did you see anything?" I told him. He said, "Yeah, there's squirrels all over. But I can't get a shot at them. They're running, so give me your gun and the bullets," which I did. 25 minutes later, he came back with his limit. He went down in that valley, he was shooting squirrels, and I watched him run up the side of the tree and fall off the side of it. He on the run, didn't matter. So he rightly impressed me. He used to be able to hand carve things with his knives. He made my mother bone rings, and he made her, salt and pepper shaker set. He carved me a few toys, which I wish I still had, but you know how you are when you're a kid. He carved me a 45 automatic 2 scale that you couldn't tell the difference with a real one. And he was just an amazing man at times. So he stopped hunting when he was about 65, 67. The last hunting trip he made with my son. And came home one day and he set the shotgun down. He said, "I'm not going anymore." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "There's not enough game around to hunt, and I'm done." And then he took up fishing. He used to fish just about every night. I'd say to him, "You want me to go with you?" Because he'd go for bullheads and stuff. He's like, "No, that's all right." He just wanted his time alone. And he'd go out in the middle of nowhere and sit next to a lake. Thermos of coffee and him, and he'd come back 2, 3 in the morning sometimes. And that went on till 1996. He was working as a cemetery caretaker, and got a call at work, and they said they found him dead in his pickup. He went in, he got a cup of coffee, and sat down in his pickup, went to open his pack of Camels, and just died. So he was a great woodsman. One thing I've noticed about all these stories, they weren't afraid of anything. They were more home in the woods than they were in the house. He never worried about bears. He never worried about anything. Worried about snakes. That's what he worried about. And these guys, they're not. They're not 50-gun Charlies. These guys are always 1, 2, 3 guns tops, and maybe a pistol. And that was my dad's lineup. He had 1 fixed blade, 1 good pocket knife, a 12 gauge. He didn't like 20s, but you had a 12 gauge, a deer rifle, and a 22, and possibly a 22 pistol. He didn't need any more than that in the woods, or for hunting or anything else. Now he's 2 fishing poles. Even in his fishing box, he had a small spool of 12-pound test in case he had to reline something. He had a silver Rapala, the 3-inch. He had a silver Rapala, the 4-inch, and he had them in gold. And towards the end, he bought 2 jointed ones. He had a black jitterbug and a green jitterbug. Hooks, sinkers, bobbers. That's it. That's all he ever had in his fishing box. He never liked rubber worms. He never liked anything. He'd fish with a Rapala and he'd fish with the jitterbug, and that was it. So, yeah, he was another good one on the list. So, that's the saga of 25 Shot Ritter. In case you missed it on the very first video, he got that name because for like a year and a half of hunting seasons, he fired 25 rounds, got 25 pieces a game. So that's where he got his logo from. And he was only known that by a few people, but hey, it's what it is. So this time, I hope you enjoyed the saga of my dad, 25 round Ritter, 25 shot Ritter, I think it was. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. The next one we're going to cover is a gentleman by the name of Mitch that I met years ago. Had to move the leg. And Mitch was a mountain man reenactor. And that's the way he lived his life. He had 2 rifles and his stuff, and we'll talk about Mitch on the next one. Y'all have a good one.